Hey, Brian from SnakeBytes here. I'm down in Arlington, Texas for the NARBC Reptile Show. I'm about to go inside and highlight the coolest animals. You're watching SnakeBytes. The first animal I want to highlight that really caught my eyes was at Captain Brett's Specialties, and it's the strawberry horn frog. Now, the Argentine horn frogs are just really cool animals because they get big and they're just this big blob of eating mass. I mean, these guys will literally get the size of a dinner plate and they will almost eat something the same size. But I tell you what, they've really been working on the color mutations of these animals, and I tell you what, these paint jobs are absolutely breathtaking. Again, this one is called a strawberry, which is an albino that is being selectively bred for its vibrant color and pattern. Sometimes these guys are also called pineapples. But I tell you what, these are really cool. I've got a couple of other cool frogs to show you right now. What is the Texas state reptile? A, diamondback rattlesnake. B, horned lizard. C, Texas indigo. Go ahead and answer down below in the comments and check back later in the show to see if you had the correct answer. On this week's Reptile Report and SnakeBytesTV Spotlight, we're going to go ahead and highlight field herp forums. Go ahead and check out the URL right here or click on the link in the description. Now, this little guy is pretty interesting. They call them fantasy frogs, and they're actually a hybrid between an Argentine and a cornuta. Now, the Argentines are cornata, so it's a little bit of a tongue twister. It's a cornuta-cornata cross, and unfortunately, these hybrids are typically sterile, but I'm told that it's a male and that the whole way down from Wisconsin it was calling, which is pretty typical for male Argentine horn frogs. Tell you what, I just love the little horns on this guy. Okay, back to the pure Argentine horn frogs. This is what they call a samurai, and what the name comes from is a reptile company over in Japan called Samurai Reptile. He's been really pioneering a lot of the cool paint jobs in these horn frogs, and these guys can literally get super blue when they get to adult. I tell you what, I am just loving these guys so much. Okay, now this might be my favorite one of all the mutations I've seen so far. They call this the green apple, and basically what it is a line-bred trait that's polygenic for a patternless horn frog. But you can see it has a bunch of green in it, and that's where the name green apple is. These horn frogs are really cool. Let's go check out some other animals. Most people that would see this animal right here might think that it's a snake, but the truth is it's actually a legless lizard. Now, a few things that really determine a legless lizard from a snake are the fact that they have a completely different tongue. They also have eyelids, of course, and external earlobes. Those are all things that snakes don't have. These guys are from Russia, and believe it or not, they'll eat crickets and other bugs like that. They're actually a really cool animal. They're a little bit creepy, but I absolutely love them to death. There are a lot of cool frogs at this show, and this one certainly caught my eye, mainly for its namesake. It's called a bird poop frog. You heard me right, a bird poop frog. Now, it's in the mossy frog family, but again, when you look at it, it actually looks like a bird had pooped on it. I don't know, I really love it, but the name is cracking me up. You guys know that I'm a tortoise nut, so whenever I get the opportunity to highlight one, you know I'm going to do it. This happens to be a brown Burmese mountain tortoise, and it's a cute little bugger, isn't it? Now, this is the 4th largest tortoise in the world, so this guy, in about 10 or 15 years, is going to be about 3 foot long. Now, they're a little bit more flat than, say, a sulcata, but they're cool animals. Now, there's another tortoise called a black Burmese mountain tortoise that is really closely related, but it stays much smaller. I tell you, I just love the fact that this guy is going to outlive me and probably go 100 to 150 years. Now, this is a big toad. This is a Sonoran desert toad, and it's the largest toad that ranges into America. And just look at this guy jump. He is a cute little bugger. It's hard to imagine a toad this size. I mean, look at that, how big that animal is. Now, it's going to pretty much eat anything in its path. It's going to eat bugs, little lizards, even other snakes and other frogs. Tell you, who couldn't refuse a face like that? Okay, back to snakes. This is actually a D'Albert's python, or also called the white-lipped python. As you can certainly see, you've got that black head with the really white lips. And what makes these guys so incredibly beautiful is the incredible iridescence, that copper color, but sheening in the light, you just see a rainbow in these guys. Now they get about 6 to 8 foot long, and they can get relatively large. I used to breed these guys years ago, and when they hatch out, they look exactly like this. Definitely a very impressive animal. These are certainly some of the most beautiful and rare snakes that I come across when I'm at a reptile show. They're called Boelen's pythons, and as you can see, the baby color is that rust red color and really beautiful. But the truth is, when they get older, they turn jet black with a little bit of yellow highlight. An incredibly impressive animal. And I've seen these guys get 10 or 12 foot and about this big around. Now they come from the mountains of Indonesia, and for whatever reason, it's become very difficult for Americans to try to breed these in captivity, with only a handful of successful breedings ever. Now there have been animals that have come in gravid and laid eggs and hatched, but the actual breeding and fur legs part seems to be very difficult. It probably has the fact that they come from the high altitudes where it's really cool. But I tell you what, every time I see a Boelen's, I absolutely fall in love. You can always find some interesting goodies at Bob Clark's table, especially when it comes to reticulated pythons. Now I tell you what, this animal completely is smoking my mind. It's just like a solid purple snake. I've always wondered what it would look like in a ball python. Well, here we are seeing it in a reticulated python. And let me tell you what it is. It's actually a super motley fire, which the motley gene is codominant as well as the fire gene. But of course, the super version is a patternless when it comes to the motley, and then you add the fire gene to it and it pretty much turns it purple. Now this happens to be an albino super motley that could potentially also be a fire. I tell you what, these two animals are ridiculous. And can you imagine this purple snake when it's 10 or 12 feet long, or even 15 feet long? Holy cow, this is absolutely crazy looking. All right, now this is a good example of a Halloween reticulated python, just so orange. Now this is a mouthful, I hope I get it right. This is a super tiger sunfire fire golden chow. So it's a 5-bang codom animal. I tell you what, this again is just an amazing reticulated python. I know there's a ton of boa lovers out there, and you guys are always telling me to highlight boas. So I tell you what, I've got two animals that absolutely blew my mind when I saw them. Now there's a blood boa, which is a recessive mutation, and then there's the sharp albino, which is a different form of albino boa. This is the combination of those two recessive morphs. So again, this is just a blood sharp albino, but take a look at the color on the head and the way that the pattern absolutely pops. Now this is amazing, and its sibling is going to be even more amazing. And here the sibling is. It's absolutely breathtaking. Now this is a sun-globe blood sharp albino boa. So again, it's a double recessive mutation with the sharp albino and the blood boa, adding a codominant hypo gene. And I tell you what, I saw this rocking around the show yesterday, and it's just like, what was that? I have to show you guys. I knew you would love it. I'm at my good friend Sean Bradley's from Exotics by Nature's table, and I'm taking a look at a ball python I've never seen before in person. It's called a bamboo ball python, and it's kind of taking the ball python industry by storm. It's the highest demand animal that I know of, and again, this is the very first one I've been able to handle. I've seen a bunch of pictures of these guys, but I tell you what, in person, it's way better. Blue-tongued skinks are really making an impact on the reptile hobby, and a lot of people, myself included, feel that they might be the next big thing that people want to buy into. Now this happens to be an interesting animal. It's called a sunset northern skink. These guys are from Australia, but the sunsets are a polymorphic mutation, meaning that if you breed the best ones together, you're just going to continue to get better and better animals. What makes blue-tongued skinks so impressive is the fact that they're easy to care for. You can literally feed them dog food with some supplements, and they're going to have live birth. They're going to go anywhere from 12 to 20 babies per litter. I tell you what, these guys are super cool and definitely an animal to keep an eye for. You guys know that I'm really into the earth tone animals, and the axanthic ball pythons are incredible with that silver and black, but unfortunately a lot of them start to dull out and get a little more brown as they get older. So fortunately, this is a fire axanthic, and you can tell that it's really retaining its color from that silver and black. I have a feeling that even when this is old, it's still going to be an really impressive animal, and I wanted to show you guys it. There's really not a lot of hognose snakes at this show, and hognose have become really popular in the snake trade for sure. So I was really lucky to see some of Dave Kaufman's animals. This is actually a superconda. Now, anacondas are a codominant mutation, and this is the result of breeding an anaconda to an anaconda. And this one is really special because it has tons of red in it. So it's actually a red superconda, and what a beauty it is. There happens to be some pretty cool boas represented at the show. This happens to be a high-tech jungle that's possible het albino. Now the high-tech is actually a hypo and an Aztec. Now the Aztec mutation is really the rare one. It's a newer mutation that's codominant that really jumbles up the pattern. So this animal here is of course hypo, it's Aztec, and it's also jungle. It's really a cool snake. This happens to be an albino Aztec motley, and again, it's another world's first here. Again, you have a few things going on. You've got the albino gene, which is recessive, the Aztec gene that's codominant, and of course the motley gene that's codominant. Now this Boas pattern really blew me away. This was actually a sunglow motley bred to a hypo jungle het for albino, and this reverse stripe animal came out. Now they're not really sure yet if the reverse stripe is going to be a genetic trait or not, but it sure looks like something that would be inherent, and I'm sure hoping they produce more of them. So people ask me all the time, do I ever pick up animals when I go to reptile shows? The truth is I'm almost always buying something, but I was really excited to buy this animal. It's a great mate for my girl Maya, my black-tailed Crebo. I've showed you her so many times. She's one of my favorite snakes in my whole collection, but I didn't have a male to breed her to. They're very hard to get captive bred ones. There's some wild-caught ones out there, but I really haven't wanted to deal with that. So the opportunity came up at this show to buy a boyfriend for Maya, and I certainly did. And I tell you what, it's one of the most beautiful black-tailed Crebos that I've ever seen. You can see he's a beast too. He's probably a good 7+ foot, and he's really firm and got a lot of muscle tone. Tell you what, I can't wait to hopefully be producing black-tailed Crebos next year. As you can see, guys, it's been an awesome show with incredible animals. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed recording it. What is the Texas state reptile? If you said B, horned lizard, you're 100% correct. Good job.
Alright guys, Brian is always talking about how he wants to go to an authentic Texas barbecue, and as many times as he's done this Texas show, he never has. I want to know what's one food you really want to try. Leave a comment below and let us know.
So there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. There were certainly some amazing animals in there. And as always, I was tweeting and Facebooking my way through it. So if you ever want to follow any of my animal adventures, make sure to hit me up over on Facebook and Twitter at SnakeBytesTV. Until next week, you've been watching Snake Bites. The reptile hobby, and a lot of people, myself included, feel that they might be the next big thing that people want to buy into. Now this happens to be an interesting animal. It's called a sunset northern skink. These guys